Hi and welcome to this workshop, which is called Weight Loss and Healthy Eating. In part one, I'm going to give a quick introduction, tell you a bit more about the book, Weight Loss and Healthy Eating. Also then look at the issues of being overweight and also why are so many people overweight. So my name's Charlie and I've written the book, which I would recommend you reading. The workshop is a lot less detailed than the actual book, so please get a copy which you can get from either Amazon or iTunes or iBooks for free, and take time to read that. So, being overweight, unfortunately it's a growing problem. More and more people are overweight and this situation is getting worse, and it's really to try and understand why and what what the issues are. So in terms of facts and figures, this has come from a report done for the NHS in 2013, although the figures are from 1993 to 2011. So the proportion of adults with a normal BMI, and we'll come on to what BMI is in a sec, that decreased. So from 1993 to 2011, from 41% to 34% among men and 50% to 39% among women. So only 34% of men and 39% of women will have a normal BMI. BMI is basically your body mass index. So it takes into account your height and your weight. So this is, unfortunately a difficult issue to face up to. The fact that this is getting worse and worse and worse and will most likely to continue unless something is done about it. And that really has to come down to the individual in the first place, in terms of understanding what those issues are. Another fact we can give is there was an increase in the proportion of adults that were obese, from 13% in 1993 to 24% in 2011 for men, and 16% to 26% in women. So 2011, and it's getting worse, these figures will be higher at current levels, 24% and 26% men and women respectively are obese. Now, the issues you have with being overweight and obese are varied and very wide-ranging. And we're going to look at some of the physical health issues and emotional health issues. So your physical health, and what are the problems and some of the risks involved if you are overweight and obese. Type 2 diabetes is an issue which to a large extent is preventable. It's generally around your lifestyle, the lack of exercise and activities, and the food and drink and your diet that you have. And type 2 diabetes is the rates are increasing hugely, and people need to understand what they can do to prevent that condition, that illness, people getting it, but also what happens if you are a diabetic, and some of the really unfortunate and tragic and horrible effects of that condition. So reducing weight or being at a healthy weight will hugely decrease your risk of getting type 2 diabetes. Also, your blood pressure. High blood pressure is a huge factor, is a big health condition, and there's a correlation between your weight and high blood pressure. So again, having a healthy weight, reducing your weight if you are overweight, is going to improve your blood pressure and decrease it. Heart disease is a particularly prevalent condition in this country, and being overweight and obese is going to increase your risk and your chances of developing heart disease. So on the other side, by having a healthy weight and having a healthy, not being overweight and obese, you're likely to prevent or reduce your risk of getting heart disease. Also strokes. Strokes are very common, and it can be people of all ages, and again, your weight can be a factor in your risk of getting a stroke and the consequences of having a stroke. Also, there are various cancers which have been shown you are much greater risk if you are overweight. So, nobody wants to get cancer, nobody wants to get any of these illnesses and conditions. Yeah, it's really important to understand that a lot of these are preventable. If you have a healthy lifestyle and if you've got a good healthy weight, then you're much more likely to not get these issues, or to reduce that risk. Also, sleep apnea. A lot of people have sleep issues, lots of different sleep issues, and sleep apnea is very common and can be very dangerous, as well as affecting your actual quality of sleep. So again, by reducing, if you are overweight, reducing your weight and having a healthy weight, that will significantly decrease your chance of having sleep apnea. Also, osteoarthritis, your bones and your joints and your ability to move, and all these different elements of your body, internal and external, which will you'll be a lower risk of having these issues and conditions if you're at a healthier weight. Liver and kidney disease also significantly increased by being obese and overweight, and pregnancy problems. A lot of females who are pregnant with weight issues there's a greater chance of other issues and conditions for themselves, but also their baby, by being overweight. So many physical health issues, factors, dangers, risks, etc., which a lot of them are preventable if you are at a healthy weight. So if you are somebody who is overweight or obese, then really think carefully about your health, your physical health, and all the things that you're putting yourself at a greater risk of. Okay, so in terms of your physical health, there are so many areas, conditions, factors, issues, which it's important to be aware of. If by realizing that there are these much greater risks, then that helps you to lose weight and be at a healthier weight and have a better diet and do more exercise and be more active, then that's going to be a good thing. So really think about how important your health is to you, and not just to you, but your family and your friends and your children, and everything in terms of your lifestyle, as to what is important to you, and making sometimes very small changes can have a real impact in a positive way on your overall health. But it's not just your physical health, there's also your emotional health. A lot of people who are overweight and obese, they will have issues with their confidence and self-esteem. Yes, some people it may not be an issue, or they may put it on a front, but actually, most people who are overweight and obese won't have that confidence, that self-esteem. They will know that it's not something they want to be like. They would like to be at a healthier weight, and that will have consequences in lots of different ways. Confidence is really important. Self-esteem is really important in so many different ways. And if they've got increased confidence, they're more likely to do more things that are going to be beneficial for them and improve their health. So looking at it in that respect, it can be very important for your confidence and self-esteem around your weight and those weight issues. Also, depression and anxiety. If you're depressed or anxiety, that could contribute towards being overweight, but also being overweight can contribute to being one of the factors which may make somebody depressed or greater anxiety, and often those can be both ways. So thinking in terms of how you feel emotionally, and your mood, and the depression, the confidence, the anxiety, etc., and how your weight, what's the relationship there? Also, it could be you feel more isolated because due to your weight, you're not doing certain activities, you're not going to certain places, perhaps you feel embarrassed or ashamed, you lack in that confidence, you don't feel you can do certain things, and you potentially become more isolated. And there is also a stigma. You know, not for everybody, but for some people, they will really feel that, you know, they don't fit in, or people are looking at them in a certain way, or they don't have that you know, belief that, you know, they can go and do certain things. And it may be that there's some discrimination, whether that's in the workplace or personally, or in all different areas, where if somebody is overweight or obese, they're going to suffer additional consequences of that through what other people are thinking, and the stigma and the discrimination potentially. So, you know, there are many potential issues related to your physical health and also your emotional health, and all those combined, you know, that's on an everyday basis. There's also something that I think is also important. It's about setting the right example for children and the next generation. Unfortunately, in all the statistics, things are getting worse. You know, everybody in general is putting on more weight, is becoming less healthy in that respect. You know, eating a worse diet, doing less exercise, etc. And that will only continue unless things are changed. And in terms of our children and the generation coming up, then, you know, they will look to their parents and the adults, and having people who are role models and setting an example. And if they see people not being active, eating loads of rubbish food and all that sort of thing, then it's more likely they're going to carry on, and it's going to get worse and worse. So, you know, setting an example, whether it's your own kids or grandchildren, or just in general, the next generation, I think it's really important that people take more responsibility and make more of an effort and understand the risks and the health issues and the factors, and it doesn't have to be a huge sacrifice or a huge effort, or, you know, it doesn't always have to be those sorts of, you know, big choices. You know, it's something that can, you know, a little bit of effort and a little bit more routine and habit and that lifestyle changes can make a big difference. So why are so many people overweight? Why are these figures increasing? Why are there all these issues? Lots and lots of factors. Firstly, we eat too much. You know, simple as that. You know, we as a nation, a country, a society, we eat far more than we need to. Now, there's lots of reasons for that, but the fact that it's all very convenient and it's there for us, and there's, you know, very little direct consequences of eating too much. People, you know, enjoy food, enjoy drink, but we just eat too much. Simple as that. Also, we eat the wrong types of foods. Increasingly, in food manufacturing and production and the way food is available to us, it's often high sugar, high fat, high carbohydrate diet, and it's basically calories going into our bodies which we don't need, or certainly not as much of that or that type, and it doesn't get used up. So we're constantly storing more and more reserves. You know, as humans, you know, hundreds, thousands of years ago, you know, we wouldn't have all this food available to us, so we would need to store these foods and these reserves, because it might be a day, 2 days, 3 days without going with any food at all. Nowadays, that doesn't happen in our society. You know, how many people will go, oh, I'm not going to eat today or tomorrow or 3 days in a row? It doesn't happen. So we don't need to have that those reserves. So eating too much, eating the wrong types of food are key factors. Also, you know, the marketing, the promotions, the availability of all these different food types. I mean, it's it's not great when you go to any supermarket or shop when you've got all these offers and bargains, and it's the chocolate bars, it's the soft drinks, it's the cakes, it's the all the stuff which is high sugar and high carbs and high fats, and they taste good generally. They are quite addictive. They're quite cheap often, and it's there. It's tempting us. It's we want that, and we can get addicted to it. We can get we can get into that routine of, oh, it's a treat. Let's have that. Now treats should be treats. Once every so often as a treat, perhaps as a reward or something you've done. Whereas it's almost becoming a regular sort of daily thing. Every single day there's a treat. Every single day it's a chocolate bar, or it's a cake, or it's this, or it's that. So yes, there's a lot of responsibility on food manufacturers and the way it's marketed and promoted to us. But we have to be smarter. We have to be aware of the different food types and what we're eating and why we're eating it and what the effects are. There is a lack of exercise and activity. In general terms, we are becoming more and more inactive. There is another workshop in a book all about the real benefits of exercise, which talks about exercise and activity benefits. But obviously, the less active you are, the more likely you are to be overweight, because you're not burning off and using those calories that you're putting in. Also, there's higher rates of stress, depression, anxiety, and some of the effects or consequences of stress, anxiety, and depression are comfort eating, overeating, not being motivated to exercise, etc. But also, it's the opposite, or the other way around, i.e., if you're being inactive, if you're eating the wrong foods, if you're putting on weight, then you're more likely to become stressed, depressed, and suffer with anxiety. So it's really important to understand that relationship and the correlation there and the different effects. We talked about the treats and how people are, sort of having treats all the time as opposed to, every so often. But it's become habit. We make these choices, and it becomes habit of getting this bargain, this promotion, this takeaway, this treat. It becomes a habit and a choice, and it becomes normal. And before you know it, you're consistently and constantly eating more than you need to, eating the wrong types of foods, putting on that weight, and it goes on and on and on and on, doing less activity. And it's not surprising that so many people are overweight and getting more so and becoming more and more obese as well. But it's also very possible to get into habits of not doing that, and to doing more exercise, and to eating the healthier foods, and to not have as much, and to do other things, and get into the habit and routine and having those choices of doing stuff which is going to be healthier and better for you. I think there is a lack of accountability and personal responsibility in general, in that not enough emphasis is placed upon people looking after their own health. We have the NHS, a fantastic principle, fantastic service, fantastic concept, but there has to be a need for people to take more responsibility for their own health, physically and mentally. And personally, I feel that there's less and less accountability and responsibility. And I think if people had more knowledge, more understanding, which hopefully these videos and books will help with, then they're more likely to take more responsibility themselves, make more of the right choices, and be more motivated to do stuff that's going to be better for them. There's also, when it comes to weight loss and being overweight, there's all these diets and fads and fiction. A lot of rubbish is out there, and yes, people they do look for a quick fix. They do want a magic wand, a pill to take, or certain things. Now, I think if it's too good to be true, it's going to be too good to be true. So be really careful about some of the diets and fads and stuff you hear and see and what people say. There is a fairly simple, straightforward equation around calories in, calories out, and that's around what you eat, different types of food, which we'll come on to, the activity and exercise you do, and to a degree your metabolism. So there's various, it's not rocket science in terms of what you can do. So try not to look for those shortcuts or those magic wand solutions that don't really exist. So just be aware of those sort of various fads and diets out there. Sleep can be a big factor. If you're not sleeping well or getting the right quality, you're more likely to be tired, lethargic, unmotivated, grumpier, etc. So you're more likely to go for the more unhealthy food. You're less likely to make the effort to go shopping, to cook the food, etc., etc. And also less likely to do exercise and activity. So sleep is something that people tend to often say that they don't sleep very well, but they don't perhaps invest as much time and effort in trying to get good sleep. And there is a video and book, How to Sleep Better, in this series, which hopefully you'll find beneficial. But really think about investing time and effort in trying to sleep better. There's also, I think, an element of boredom. People, although there's so many different things going on and so many options and things people can do, still there is a large element of boredom. And if you're bored, you're more likely to eat. And you sort of just eat just the fact you're bored, nothing else to do. What am I going to do? I'll eat, go to the fridge, go to the cupboard, go to the shop, go to takeaway. And it's thinking about, being honest with yourself, are you eating because you're bored or because you're hungry or because it's the right thing to do? And look at, that whole thing of what else you can do. I think it's a real shame if people are bored in today's society, because there are so many things you could be doing, whether that's reading, writing, researching, meeting up with people, all these different things. So think about, are you eating just because you're bored or something to do? And finally, in this area, it's the more people that are overweight and obese, the more people see, the more normalized it becomes. It becomes a kind of, not necessarily accepted, but it's not a unusual thing to see anymore. Most people are overweight. A large proportion of people are obese. You'll see it all everywhere and all the time, and therefore the fact that it becomes normalised, it's almost will become more acceptable, which is a danger and a shame. And I think it's if people understood the consequences and the risks and the health issues in all those different ways, then I would hope that they would make more effort, get more help, have more support, be more encouraged, have more options, etc., in order to lead a healthier life. So part two, it's going to be focused on losing weight. So obviously, a lot of people don't need to lose weight. In fact, some people, it's healthy for them to put on weight. But in this context, we're going to look at people who wish to lose weight, who maybe need to lose weight or want to lose weight, and how best that can happen. I think overall, the important thing is to do it sensibly. Be really careful of trying to do things too quickly, or all these sort of wonderful, not wonderful, fads and diets out there. Be sensible about it. Get try and get the knowledge, the information, the understanding, and yeah, have a sensible approach to weight loss. It will take time, and it's much better to do it steadily and sensibly for a longer term, longer lasting, sustainable effort than just trying to go at it really quickly. The weight loss equation is effectively the calories you take in and the calories that go out. Everyone's different, slightly different metabolic rate. Men and women are different, and people will have different daily routines. But if you think about, or work out what calories you're taking in, and the good news is that most foods and drinks that you have nowadays, you'll be able to calculate the calories, and then look at what's for your sex, your height and weight, what a normal amount of calories out would be, and then adding in the extra activities you might be doing. Try and get a calculation of your calories in and calories out, and then understanding about the different food types, because there'll be some what you call empty calories. So you'll take a lot of calories in, but they won't actually give you that energy or give you those nutrients or give you that benefit. And others might be lower calories but give you much more nutrition. So, as we'll come on to later, understanding much more about the different food types. Think about your motivation. Why would you want to lose weight? Understanding those reasons and having the goals. So, do you have a particular amount of weight you want to lose, and why that amount? Is it because you just want to feel healthier? Is it because you understand the health risks around being overweight? Is it realistic in terms of your goal? If you want to, say, lose a couple of stone, is it realistic in terms of the time period you set yourself? And just be, again, sensible and realistic about what you can do over a specific time period and how you can do it. Look for the right support and advice. It might be you want to talk to your doctor. It might be a nutritional expert. It could be a friend, a partner, a family member, or colleagues. You might want to look to do some weight loss with a friend. But it's important to have that support, that encouragement, the right advice and information. Be careful of some of the common pitfalls. A common pitfall would be you get some bad news and your default reaction might be, oh, I need some chocolate, I need a cake, I need some comfort food. Now, the reality is in life you're always going to get bad news at different times. So you need to be aware that that's going to happen, and it's how you deal with that. And if every time you get some sort of bad news, your sort of instinct is to go for something comfort eating, then that's always going to be there unless you address it. So be aware of the potential pitfalls in that respect. Also, other people who are perhaps not particularly supportive or encouraging and maybe tempting you into something that isn't going to be what you want to do in terms of your weight loss. Various different things where if you've got a plan, if you've got a goal, you've got that ambition, you want your focus, look to minimize those potential risks that will stop you from doing that. And a lot of it is having the right people and circumstances around. Also, not beating yourself up too much around, not putting too much pressure on yourself. It's great to have goals and targets, but just get that balance between not really putting too much pressure on yourself. And if you have a bad day, don't let that mean a bad week. Don't let that mean a bad month. Don't let that put you off at all. Just day by day, and just again, be sensible around it. Exercise and activity. Try and do more exercise and activity. It will help. It will burn more calories, etc. But be, again, sensible with the approach. It might be if you're not used to doing much, then just be aware that you don't want to get injured. You don't want to do things that will put you off doing that activity. Again, try and get the right people around you, the right advice. get people involved, try and get motivated to do more exercise and activities, and yeah, try and get it part of your whole lifestyle approach. Good food types, so understanding the different foods and drinks and what different food types are and how they affect you, and just understanding better around those food types. We'll come on to that soon, but that could have a really big effect on weight loss in terms of what you eat and how you eat it, and when you eat it. So the right times to eat. Whether it's you'll hear a lot about breakfast being the most important meal of the day, and in many respects it is, because what can often happen is people who are looking for weight loss, they will try and eat less and less and less and skip breakfast or have less, and they'll get have low energy, and they'll get sort of grumpy or grouchy. They'll want some energy, and they'll tend to be more around a high sugary snack, and then that will affect their blood sugar levels, and then that will make them more tired and lethargic, and then they'll go through the day and they'll keep struggling through, and then in the evening they'll almost give up and just end up eating lots and lots and lots in the evening, and then that's not helping in terms of the digestion and food process and everything else, and it's that cycle. So understanding more about the food, and then the right times to eat and how that fits into your lifestyle and combined with everything else. Everyone will have different circumstances and different situations, so working out what is best for you as an individual. There's also, in terms of children, we talked about setting a good example for children, but if a child is overweight or obese, how you can help them to reduce weight as well. And trying to make it educational, try and get them to understand the different risks and the different benefits, making it sort of more fun, more interactive, but encouraging them to take responsibility for themselves. And there's lots of different ways of doing this, but making sure that they really understand why are they looking to lose weight, and how best to do that. And if it's a family, try and involve everyone, make it a collective, support each other, get those synergies out of more, the people involved and the overall benefit. And as I say, make it a lifestyle. It'll be much easier to sustain it and to have long-term benefits if you can make it a lifestyle in terms of the foods you eat, when you eat it, the different types, how much, where, and also the different activities and physical exercise and other stuff you do. Part 3 is around healthy eating. So obviously, we need to eat and drink. It's very important. We have to do it. We do it on a daily basis. But it's important to understand our food and what we eat and drink, and other factors to consider around that. So really having that extra knowledge and understanding around everything that we consume and the effect it has, good and bad. So in terms of understanding food, in the book, the Weight Loss and Healthy Eating book, it will explain in a lot more detail all the different food types and things to be aware of. So first of all, understanding calories. There's the simple equation we've talked about, calories in, calories out, and how that affects your weight. But also how some foods will have a lot of calories and other foods will have a lot less, and what you get from those. And effectively, humans, they need the calories for energy. It needs it for fuel. All our bodily functions, particularly our brain, we need that energy, that food, that fuel for us to survive. But getting the right amount of calories at the right times and in the right way, along with everything else, is it's really important. But it's important to understand all the different elements to that. So I would encourage you to read the detail in the book. When it comes to fats, all different types of fats, and unsaturated, saturated, the good and the bad fats, and it's things like being aware that there were lots of products out there, in recent years available which say low fat, and there's a lot of focus around, fat's bad for you, and a lot of fat is bad for you, but sometimes we need certain amounts of fats. But also, often these low-fat products will have high sugar, and unless you're using that sugar, burning off those calories, that is effectively going to end up being fat. So it's having that knowledge, understanding of the different food types and the labelling on products, and looking more carefully, looking at the different elements of the food, the ingredients, and what goes in. And although there's a lot of I would say bad stuff around the food manufacturers and production and everything else, the good news is that on most products nowadays, it will tell you, the calories, the amount of fat, the amount of salt, the amount of sugar, the amount of carbohydrates, the amount of protein, etc. So the information is generally there for you, and if you take the time to look at it and have that knowledge, understanding, you'll be so much better placed to have a much healthier intake. So, understanding sugar. In the last probably couple of decades, the rise of sugar is absolutely phenomenal. And people don't really understand the dangers of sugar. I mean, sugar can be very addictive. It can become very fattening in terms of you're not burning up and using that sugar, and it gets stored as fat. It can also influence the brain in terms of having an effect on the brain chemistry, lowering mood. It will have an effect on blood sugar levels and make you more tired and more lethargic, and that will affect your mood and things you do. And unfortunately, sugar is very, very cheap, and as well as those addictive qualities, and it can taste good and nice, it's very cheap, and therefore it's found in a lot of different food types. And understanding the potential damage and dangers and effects of sugar, it's important to understand that, and then look to how you can reduce that. Looking at all the different foods and drinks that contain the sugar, and on average, or roughly, the recommended daily amount of sugar is around 60 grams, which is about 15 teaspoons of sugar. Now, most people will have far more, will consume far more than 60 grams, and a lot of the low-fat products will have high sugar, and lots of drinks and all different foods. And it's really important to understand, say, the effects of sugar, but also where you will find it, and look at those labels and become more and more aware. You become the expert on what's going into your food and your drinks, and then what you're consuming. Salt, people are aware that high salt is bad for you in terms of your heart and blood pressure, etc. And again, it's important to check on the ingredients and labels, etc., the salt content, and be aware of, am I having too much, and where am I getting it from? It's not just the salt you might sprinkle on your vegetables or your chips. Processed foods, convenience foods, processed food, all the different stuff that is added to them. Now, there's a lot of potential risks and dangers with processed foods. The various chemicals and additives and preservatives that are put in, and stuff that, the good stuff, a lot of the nutrients taken out. And yes, it's convenient, yes, it's more easily available, but in terms of your health and the dangers, being really aware of the risks of all that processed food. Carbohydrates, we generally have a lot of carbohydrates in our diet in various aspects, and yes, we need carbs, we need that for energy, for glucose, to conversion, in our fuel we need, but the breads, the pastas, the cakes, all this types of the carbs, which we generally we need far less. We can survive on a lot less and get our fuel and energy from other areas. Also, there's different types of carbohydrates. So, for example, slow releasing carbohydrates like oats. Porridge, for example, is a fantastic food in terms of it provides good energy, but it's slow releasing. So over time, your blood sugar levels, it's nice and consistent. You'll feel fuller for longer, and it's actually very low calorie compared to a lot of other carbohydrates. So in terms of weight loss, or maintaining a healthy weight and diet, porridge is a superb food, particularly if it's no added sugar, no other flavors or flavorings, and if you have it with, say, skim milk, for example. Proteins, we need protein, and we can get that from various different sources. Most people are aware of proteins from meat and fish, but you can get them from various beans and pulses and dairy products, and some vegetables as well. So understanding more about proteins and those, the proportions of carbohydrates and proteins and fats and sugars, etc. Fibre is really important for our digestive system, and various organs, and for our stomach. Fibre is very important. A lot of people do not get enough fibre, and vitamins and minerals generally. There should be no need for anyone to take additional vitamins or minerals in the shape of tablets or pills. If you have a balanced diet, you should get all the right vitamins and minerals that you will need. And understanding what you need, where you get them from, and why you need them. And then vegetables and salads. We talk about 5 a day in this country, and fruit and vegetables, etc. And most people don't have 5 a day. Most people 2 or 3 a day at most. And especially in terms of vegetables and salads, they're such a great source of nutrients and good stuff that it's very low calorie. You can eat loads and loads and loads, and you get so much benefit from them. And if people understood the benefits that you get from the vegetables and salads, and the whole full range of such wide variety you can have, and so much you can do with them, then you'd be so much healthier, and the weight also would come off very quickly. And that final thing is, you are what you eat. Really think about, everybody is responsible for what they eat and drink on a daily basis. And the more knowledge you have, the more understanding, the more time you take to look at the ingredients and the labelling, the more likely you are to make the healthier choices, the healthier decisions. It's not an overstatement, to say you are what you eat. It's such a fundamental part of who you are on a daily basis, and by making some changes, lifestyle choices, and fitting it in, you can make a huge difference to your health. And it's not just about your weight, it's about how you feel, having that energy, being positive, in a better mood, feeling good about yourself, all these different things which have then knock-on effects. So really look to try and understand food and drink and the labelling and those factors in more detail. Become more knowledgeable, and then you're going to be much better placed to make better decisions, and then they become more routine and more habitual and easier to make. And then there's nothing wrong with a treat every now and then, or have a little bit more than perhaps you should, or a particular celebration or something. There's nothing wrong with that. If it happens all the time, then we see the results, and then the risks and the dangers and the costs associated. Other factors to consider. So, talked about making it a lifestyle approach. It's going to be much easier for someone to maintain and sustain a healthy eating if it becomes more of a lifestyle approach. So, cooking meals. You're more likely, if you go and buy the ingredients and cook the meal yourself, apart from the fact that it's something productive to do, it could be enjoyable, it's creative, etc., it's much more likely to be healthy as well. It might be that with your family or your children or your partners, you sort of get into a routine of, yeah, I'm going to cook tonight, you're going to cook tomorrow, we're going to do this together, we're going to cook loads of stuff, put them in the freezer, and just make it more normal and routine to have that healthier eating lifestyle. Benefits of water and hydration. Drinking water is crucial, or rather having water or fluids is crucial, but water, being hydrated, a lot of people will get, say, headaches, and that's due to being dehydrated. And if you get a headache, it's not pleasant, it's not nice, it will make you in a worse mood and have a knock-on effect. So in water in that way, is being hydrated is important. A lot of drinks will contain sugar, will contain calories, will contain lots of things which aren't good for you, and just simply having water, you're going to get a lot of benefits from that. So replacing the high sugary drinks, the fruit juices, the soft drinks, etc., with water could make quite a big difference. And just getting used to drinking water, having a bottle with you, there's a lot of benefits that can come from that. Healthy drinking, and this is not just about reducing alcohol, because with alcohol there are various potential risks, but there's often quite high calories in alcohol. Whether it's wine or beer or spirits, there's quite a considerable amount of calories which people don't tend to think about or focus on. So in terms of your weight, there's a big factor there. But also, having alcohol in terms of what you then do, it might prevent you from being more active. It might make you more tired. It might make your sleep worse. All these other knock-on effects. So, looking at your drinking, it's not just about the food, it's the drink as well and the alcohol. Food and mood, and food and sleep. So, a lot of foods, particularly around sugar and blood sugar levels, will affect your mood and your energy levels. Also, for example, serotonin levels. So serotonin, one of the neurotransmitters, very influential around how you feel and being positive in your mood. For example, one of the most common sort of antidepressants, Prozac, is all around increasing your serotonin levels. Now, you can increase serotonin levels in lots of different ways, through exercise and through laughing, but also through what you eat. And tryptophan, sort of amino acid, where consuming that will directly increase your serotonin levels. And tryptophan, lots of different foods you can get it from, but particularly turkey, for example, is one sort of quite well-known source of tryptophan, but various proteins. So having that protein and the tryptophan elements, so you can, through food, directly increase certain chemicals in the brain. And your sleep, by eating a healthier diet and at the right times, you can improve your sleep. Again, all those positive, productive knock-on effects. Also, your food and your diet and your nutrition can play an important role, directly and indirectly, in terms of your likelihood of getting ill and having illness, in terms of colds and coughs and flus and that sort of thing, and infections. So sort of, I guess, shorter term sort of illnesses in that respect, as opposed to longer term diseases and health issues which we talked about before. So having a good immune system, being healthier, you're less likely to get colds and flus, etc., if you have a good healthy diet. Cooking healthily, mentioned about taking some time to write the ingredients, cook the meal, because that's going to be generally more healthy. But by understanding the different food types and making more of an effort and cooking the healthy foods and storing it in the fridge or freezer, getting other people to participate, getting the kids involved, there's so many benefits you can get from that. And yes, okay, it takes a bit more time. Yes, there might be some more washing up, etc. But the benefits you'll get from it are going to be more than worth it. The healthy eating for children. So again, we talked about the issues of the growing problems of overweight and obese children and being less active, but getting children educated and understanding different food types, and then getting them cooking, getting them involved in the kitchen, making it fun, making it informative, educational, in all different ways, breakfast, lunch, dinner, get them involved and understanding. That's got to be a good thing, and hopefully that will become a long-term thing which will improve their overall health and well-being. And finally here I've talked about food allergies and intolerances, and it is a fact that many people will have allergies and intolerances, and I think it's important to try and consider or work out if potentially you have an intolerance to food. Many people have intolerance, say, to dairy products, and it's understanding what the symptoms are and the effects are, and then how you can work out what the potential intolerances are or the allergies are, and it might be you need outside sort of expertise and help and guidance in that respect, or you work it out for yourself or research. But just be aware that there are a lot of people who all have allergies and intolerances, and it could be that you're suffering with, you have an intolerance, yet you're continuing to eat or drink that same product, which causes the stomach problems, the skin issues, whatever. So just be aware of potential allergies and intolerances to food and drink. Part 4, I'm going to give you a real life sort of case study, which is also a sort of a nutrition plan, and then talk about going forward as well. So I've entitled this "Losing 2.5 stone for Kilimanjaro." A bit of a strange title, but I'll try and explain. Back in February 2013, we did a CYM Kilimanjaro expedition trip, and myself and one of the ladies, from beginning of January through to mid-February, so it's a 6-week period, between us we lost 2.5 stone. I lost a stone and the lady lost 1.5 stone, and I'll give you some background to that. So one of the ladies who was taking part, she'd always suffered with like weight issues, and was overweight, but she signed up to Kilimanjaro, and I had confidence she would be able to do it and get to the summit. And she signed up about a year in advance, and she started to do some of our activities, and she was doing more exercise and started to lose weight and was getting fitter and stronger and healthier. But then towards the back end of 2012, she came to less of our activities, and it was clear over several weeks that there was something wrong, some issue, and I sort of left it until we got to sometime in December, and I contacted her and said, "Look, I haven't seen you for a while. What's going on? Is there an issue? Is there a problem?" And she'd obviously, she had put on quite a bit of weight, and time was now running out. And although there's lots of factors in terms of Kilimanjaro success, I was concerned that she was going in the wrong direction. Having done so well for so long, she was now putting the weight back on and being less active. And to cut a long story short, we had a conversation, and I said, "Look, I will set you out a nutrition plan. I will do more exercise training with you, but it's really important that you lose weight before the trip." And she agreed to it, and I wrote this plan for her which began beginning of January, and it was a 6-week nutrition plan. And alongside that, we'd do some more exercise. But also, I'd noticed myself that I'd gradually put on weight. From the summer, I'd been involved in a big challenge and was aware of my weight then. And I weighed myself around Christmas time and realised I'd put on about a stone, or just over a stone in weight, gradually crept up. So I thought to myself, look, rather than just telling somebody, or advising someone, you go ahead and do this, I thought I'll do it myself as well. So basically, beginning of January, for a 6-week period, both of us did this nutrition plan, which was very simple, but also very effective. And I'm going to talk you through effectively what it was. Porridge. Mentioned porridge already. Slow releasing carbohydrate, but also very low calorie. And if you have it plain and simple, perhaps a little bit of brown sugar on top, or maybe a few bits of dried fruit, or a bit of honey, then porridge is a fantastic way of giving you energy, but slow releasing. It will make you feel full, but it's low calorie. And I would have that for breakfast, and potentially again during the day if I felt particularly hungry or needed something else, as opposed to going for anything else. I'd have another bowl of porridge. I would have it with skim milk. So porridge is a key part of this. Second, unlimited amount of vegetables and salad. So think of all the different vegetables. You can have peas, sweet corn, carrots, salads, peppers, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, French beans, just all the different vegetables and salads. You can have as much as you like throughout the day. And then trying to have some good lean protein. So lean meats, particularly chicken, turkey, fish, salmon, cod, tuna, and also eggs and pulses. Personally, I'm not such a fan of beans and pulses, but particularly say if you're vegetarian, you can get the protein from other sources. So that was the main concept of this nutrition. So carbohydrates, focus on porridge. So cut out the breads, cut out the pastas, the rices, the cakes, all that. Cut out the sugar. No chocolate, no soft drinks, no sweets, no cakes. Try and cut out sugar as much as possible. So you're cutting out most of the carbs except porridge. You're cutting out as much sugar as you possibly can. But you can have as much vegetables and salad as you like, some good quality lean protein, and then the porridge. What I found was, so typically, say at lunchtime, I'd have maybe salmon, scrambled egg, and salad. For dinner, I might have chicken stir fry with various vegetables and salad bits. Might have tuna, mayonnaise, with salad and eggs. There's all different combinations of things you can have with the vegetables, the salads, and the proteins. I never felt hungry throughout this process. Roughly, you was getting about 1,500 calories a day, so less than what you normally have. So you were burning some of the excess fat on your body. But I'd never felt hungry, and if ever I did, I'd either have a glass of skim milk, or a bowl of porridge, or some more vegetables and salads. You can have some fruit within that as well, but you're trying to cut out the sugar. And after a couple of days, your sugar cravings tend to go. Generally speaking, you won't feel hungry. You'll feel more energized. You'll be able to do just as much, if not more, physical activity. You'll get used to it. It's not that much of a hassle. It doesn't take that much time to prepare stuff. It's relatively simple. And to cut this long story short, we both stuck at it pretty much. I had a couple of days here and there where it didn't quite work out, and she was the same. But on the whole, we stuck to it. In a 6-week period, I lost a stone and she lost 1.5 stone. And we both agreed that it was pretty easy to stick to. And I would really recommend for anyone to understand as much as they can about the foods and how they can fit it into their lifestyle. And you know, this sort of diet or nutrition plan can be very effective. Now, it's about making it work for you, and then getting that balance between exercise, activity, and diet. But sugar is a hugely powerful negative thing. So the more you can cut out sugar in your diet, the better, and those cravings will go quite quickly. Vegetables and salads, just keep, you can have loads and loads and loads of them. And then trying to get that sort of balance between the carbohydrates and the protein, and not having too much carbohydrates, because you can get that to so many different areas, the energy you need. So just have a think about it. In the book, there's more detail, more nutrition plans and meal plans and suggestions. But if you want to lose weight, and you feel you should, and you want to do it in a fairly straightforward, fairly easy, sustainable, sensible way, then I would recommend doing this. I'd also recommend coming and doing a Kilimanjaro trip with us. But say there's more detail in the book. So going forward, I would recommend the Weight Loss and Healthy Eating book. There's also something called the Weight Loss Challenge, the CYM Weight Loss Challenge, which is around setting yourself a target over a 4-week period. So 4 weeks, really going for it in terms of healthy eating and exercise and activity. See what you can do, how much weight you can lose sensibly and appropriately. And you could do that by raising money. You could, we could help you, advise you, support you, and you could then look to raise money as a weight loss challenge for the charity. It's fantastic. We benefit, you benefit, so it's a win-win. And then also, in terms of being healthier and weight loss, come and do a CYM triple challenge. So lots of information on the website, on the Facebook page, with the other series of books, which are all around health and well-being. So look at the other online videos and books as well. Go to the website, get in touch, and just really think about how important your health is. Look to, if you are overweight, look at, there's so many things you can do to reduce your weight, to have a healthier lifestyle, and you will feel better for it. You'll feel better for it currently, in the present, but also in the future going forward. You'll live a healthier and happier life. Thank you.